The name of that song is called Morning Sun, and it was written and produced and sung by my special guest today, Connie Brannock of Tucson, Arizona. Connie, wonderful to have you on the show this morning. Thank you so much.
Well, it's such a thrill to be here with you and quite a surprise. So glad that you had a connection to Tucson and we had a mutual friend who could put us together.
That mutual friend, especially through her daughter, was the one who sent me Lady on a Bus and thought that that was right up my alley, and she was absolutely correct. I absolutely loved it. And then we started communicating, and then you sent me your most recent recording, which is Last Call, and I loved it as well. And I said, I've got to have Connie on my show. And so I was just thrilled that you accepted. And you've got quite a diverse background, Connie. I was looking over all of your resume and your bio. Looks like you grew up on the East Coast, if I'm not wrong about that. But always a music fan from a child.
Hmm.
Um, in the late 1970s, headed west and headlined in some bands in Salt Lake City and San Francisco. And then at the ripe age of 34, almost 35, in 1986, you won the Stroh's Superstar Talent Search Contest, and you were signed by, of all people, Caleb Ruffin of MCA Records. Wanted you to move to Atlanta to record a single, and you said, sorry, Caleb, I'm going to join the U.S. Army. And spent the next 21 years in the Army and retired as an Army National Guard command sergeant major. And after 2 tours in Iraq, I must point that out as well. And then started, reinvented yourself, I think is a better word, in 2009 in Tucson, Arizona. And music became your thing. So tell me a little bit more.
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like the all of the wears and tears of living are really the really the bangles and the jewelry. The years are just a blessing, and I've been able to. I feel like live so many lives, and yet they're connected in terms of my love of music. It did start when I was about 14. The neighborhood and my neighborhood friends, and some of these boys I went to high school with wanted to start a band. Of course, after the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan,
Right.
I think every kid in America wanted to start a band at that point, and so I wanted to be a drummer. And Ronnie's brother had a drum set already, so I was kind of relegated to you're going to have to sing. And okay, and maybe get one of those organ things like they have in the Doors. Okay, all right. Well, so my parents helped me get a little used Vox Jaguar, and I learned how to sing. I was a trombone player in the middle school marching band. That was my claim to fame musically. So the first song that I ever sang was Creedence Clearwater Revival's 747 coming out of the sky. And so I just kind of mimicked John Fogerty, and it's probably the foundation of that gruff kind of side of my voice. And then we learned how to play our instruments literally, truly, in Tom Malaby's garage. And needless to say, I've continued on with my love of music. Had a very good band in Salt Lake City called Connie and the Rhythm Method, and we toured throughout the Intermountain West. And when after I signed the contract, it was actually in 1986 when we won the contest, and they wouldn't sign the whole band. And to me, playing in a band is the ultimate team sport. So I did go to Atlanta to work with Caleb Ruffing, and that was ended up. I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't like the. I wasn't in love with music anymore. I'd fallen out of love with it because of the business side of it, and joined the daggone army. And I didn't realize I'd spend almost 22 years or 21 and some change, and it was the best thing I could have possibly done. Talking about, I think the reason that I'm as successful now as a band leader is because of my army background.
That's
I mean,
incredible.
yeah, in a nutshell, to be able to have lived, and then while I was in the army, I finished my bachelor's and master's, and then I was teaching school when I first came back to Tucson, and was working on a doctorate in education, and decided, my minister said, you know what, you should sing again. Don't You should share your talent, because she happened to hear me sing one time. And so I dropped out of my doctoral program and resigned from being an assistant principal, became a substitute, and then really started my career from the ground up. I didn't know anyone in Tucson. Taught myself how to play cajon, and needless to say, over the past 11 years, I've played as much as I can to try to continue to improve every day, and started writing again. And it's been it's been amazing. It's been
You,
a
Connie,
thrill.
one of the things that jumped out at me about both your CD and your new EP is just how you cross genre. I mean, you've got a wicked blues voice, and I mean, I spent 18 years in Tucson, and I only know a couple of the people that of course, it's been a while since I left there about 5 years ago. And the band that you have accumulated with you to help you with this, um, like you said, the military has given you a real appreciation of a team effort. And boy, have you ever grabbed a team together. I've never heard musicians like this. They are just drop dead wonderful, and you blend in with them with your particular talent and write some wonderful songs.
Oh,
It's I was taken back. You cross genres. That's what's really wonderful. Jazz, blues, a little rock, some and some lounge music even. It's in there. I, I was just kind of like, well, what can't this woman do? you know, and so yeah, I see that you're following your passion without a doubt.
thank you, thank you. Boy, there's a lot of things I can't do, and in terms of music, I'm a one octave wonder as a vocalist. I've got more dynamic range than vocal range, and than pitch range, and I just work with what I have. I just wring out every ounce I can get, and to me, it's I'm known around Tucson for my energy and passion, and then it's funny, the first single I ever owned, and I wore my parents' ears out, because I put the little arm up on the Motorola and let it play over and over, was an instrumental, Young Holt Unlimited, Soulful Strut. That's
Oh
kind of
yeah, I remember
the
that.
foundation of you can kind of hear that slinky groove in a lot of my tunes. And of course, I loved the Fifth Dimension, Slide the Family Stone, and Carole King. And then when I went to college, I discovered Laura Nyro,
Oh
and
yeah, oh yeah.
unbelievable. And Tucson is a gem. This little desert.
It is.
The musicians that I have been able to collaborate with are unbelievably talented. And there's yeah, so many, and they're men, women, different ages. I'm working on a project with a gentleman in his 20s right now. It's probably going to be called Disco in the Desert, and it's a collection
I like that.
of dance songs, and then I'm collaborating with a hip hop artist, and I wrote a song called The Wild West, and he does a whole hip hop about Lute Olson and some of the landmarks around Tucson, and it's incredible, that whole, where you bring generations together. You might see three generations on a stage with us on any given night.
Let me point out too that you mentioned Lute Olson. For my listeners up here, they won't know that he's a legendary coach from University of Arizona
Thank
basketball.
you.
And talk about that gravel edge. This was the song, and I'd like to play that right now if we could. That really cemented me to your music, and shows that R&B background that you had. Um, let's play a number called Chorizo and Eggs. Sound good?
Absolutely. Makes me hungry.
Here we go.
I was walking one morning, the sun was coming up. Along came this old cowboy in a pickup truck. He said, "Honey, can I buy you something to just a great big smile. And when she took my order, she said, "Girl, you know how to eat in style." Chorizo and eggs, chorizo and eggs. I love chorizo and eggs, chorizo and eggs. If you wanna get a look at these fine hooker legs, you're gonna have to buy me some chorizo and eggs. Little mama came out of the kitchen wearing a big old grin, just so smoking hot pico de gallo, trying to do it in. I winked at the waitress, I picked up a spoon, saw that something like candy, gave a high five to the room. We had a good time meeting up, everything on our plates. Didn't have anywhere to go, wasn't worried about being late. Telling each other all kinds of stories, some were even true. We were both so full, there wasn't nothing left to do. So we headed down the highway for throttle all the way. We said our goodbye, we got back in the day. I said chorizo and eggs, chorizo and eggs. Oh, I love chorizo and eggs, some free fried beans, chorizo and eggs. If you wanna get a look at these fine hooker legs, you're gonna have to buy me some chorizo and eggs. If you wanna get a look at these fine hooker legs, you're gonna have to buy me some chorizo and eggs. Ooh, I'm hungry. Give me some of them corn tortillas too.
The collaboration in that incredible song and the energy that's in that, like I said, that drew me to you and your music like a magnet. But as we see with other things, and I loved hearing that you're going to be doing, almost into hip hop. It sounds like, which I think is great. And Tucson is a gem. It is and I think that if it weren't for that heat, I might still be there. But I can take 9 months of gray and overcast more than I can one day of 110 degrees. So good for you that you can tolerate that. But so what's next?
Oh my gosh, I'm working on a children's album as well, and it's all about. It might be might be called the Desert Rat Choir, and remember they were dressed up like the old James Dean, not James Dean, Frank Sinatra, that whole group. Remember the Rat Pack?
Yes,
It's
indeed,
good.
I do.
It's actually Desert Rat Pack. That's what I wanted to call the CD, and
Sure.
we have a 14-year-old illustrator. She's unbelievably talented, and I can't. I just asked for. Can you send me one picture because her mom showed me her work, and you'll see that this young lady is. It's amazing. So it will be a collaboration between a 14-year-old illustrator and a 65 and almost 66-year-old songwriter, and the usual Mike Levy he's the one that produced Last Call, and he's also going to be producing the children's album as well. And Chris Pena is the young man I work on for the hip hop dance music type of. So anyway, I'm trying to rein myself in, so I got to get things finished because I get so excited that I start writing another song before I get everything all wrapped up in a bow and get the songs
And,
finished.
and isn't it incredible, Connie? I looked at you. Of course, we don't have live music yet up in Washington State because of our COVID restrictions. But I see you're booked out clear up into July down in Arizona. So, there's no lack of demand for your services, as they say. 2020 has, in spite of the catastrophe this has been worldwide, it's been a terrific year for you, hasn't it?
It really has. I was during the early stages of the pandemic when we had a lockdown here. I was able to get my ukulele skills dialed in, and I would record Enter Sandman by Metallica one day, and then a children's song the next, and a really cool reggae version of Wild Thing. I would just try to offer some joy through music on my Facebook page. And we started to have music only outside and safe distance, thanks to, as you well know, we have lovely winters. And we would play for tailgate parties without football games. And we found ways, and the venues found ways to make things work within the COVID environment due to our weather. And then the
Terrific.
summertime, it will actually slow down because it gets to the point where it's too hot to play outside.
I know. I remember.
Yeah.
My special guest today is Connie Brannock, and she is singer, songwriter, band leader of Connie Brannock Band. And also you have a quartet. I saw that, and times you play with a reduced group of people. Her first CD release is called Lady on the Bus. Her latest is an EP called Last Call. And they're available, I'm sure, Connie, aren't they, on all the outlets, iTunes,
You bet.
Amazon, that sort of thing. Got another CD coming out in the next year?
Yes, we sure will. Don't know the title yet. It might be called Monsoon. We'll probably have one called Monsoon Boogie that'll be string based, like
Sounds
funky
great.
folk. So,
That sounds good. Be sure and send me a copy of it because I'll play it on KSVR for you there.
all right.
Hey, thank you so very, very much for joining me here today. Absolute pleasure. I wish you all the best. I'm excited to hear your music be spread around the world. And let's go out with a song that I really like a lot. And I'm glad you chose this one. It's called Last Call, and it's from, obviously, the EP of the same title. And I know everyone's going to enjoy it. And thank you again. And if it ever happens that you're touring, past COVID, we're halfway between Seattle and Vancouver, British Columbia. Would love for you to stop in the studio and visit us there too.
Oh, thank you so much. I've enjoyed myself enormously.
It was great to have you.
All
Take care
right.
and the best, Connie. Sure
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Alrighty.
Gregory. Bye bye.